Hey, welcome back. Good morning. Thanks for taking a few minutes today. What I was hoping to cover in this micro sermon is kind of a big ticket philosophical question of why does God allow bad things to happen? Why does God allow good people to suffer and for pain to persist in a world that He created? And it's a heavy question and a good question. It's one worth asking. I think whether you're an atheist or a believer or somewhere in the middle, that's a fair question and one that should be pondered and discussed. And what I realized in doing it is I can't really pack it all into a 5 minute micro sermon. I think this is one that's probably going to require a full blown sermon at some point. We'll get the band back together and get them all in one place and stream it live. We'll do a 30 or 45 minute sermon on the topic. But I do think that there's a couple of things I want to highlight just kind of in context. And the biggest thing to understand is that in order for God to create creatures that were eventually going to have the option of loving Him, He had to instill them with free will. Free will means that you can choose yes or you can choose no. And essentially, what free will was put in our hearts for was for the big ticket question of what did you do with my son, Jesus Christ? Is he Lord? Is he evil? Is he crazy? Is he something else? This is something that everybody's going to have to wrestle with, and everyone, whether you know it or don't know it, you're going to make a decision one way or the other on that big ticket item. So that's why free will was instilled in us, is so that we can choose to love and follow and trust and serve God, or choose not to. But once that free will is there, once it's baked into the equation of who we are, there's no way to flip it off. And so that free will then is imposed on other things in life. You can choose right or left, right or wrong. And unfortunately, there's a lot of bad people that have free will that make decisions that end up hurting people. And we see a lot of this going on in the world right now. And we question, where is God and what's He doing? Well, God has, again, given that flexibility because He knew that in order to truly submit, you have to have the ability to say no. You have to be able to choose. If you don't choose, then it's not really submitting at all. It's not making a decision. So He's instilled free will in us, and there's ramifications of that. There's evil people, there's evil forces. It's just a broken, fallen, messed up world on this side of the sun. It's all going to go away on the other side, but right now there are challenges. And so I reflect back when I think about this to different things in the Bible where you've seen people whose lives were transformed, sometimes through difficult situations, painful situations, sad situations, and yet God, even though He didn't wipe away that pain and that sadness and that hurt, He did use it for His kingdom. He transformed it. He renewed it. And we see this in Romans 8:28. It says, we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love Him, who have been called according to His purpose. So God is not going to rewire us to remove the free will that could potentially strip the world of all the evil and negative things that we see, but He is saying that He's on His throne and that He's in control, and that from an internal perspective, somehow, whether we understand it or not, He's working for our benefit. And it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to have a wrinkle-free life. It doesn't mean you're going to be immune from pain or sickness or even in some cases death. Those things are going to continue to be here. We know in Revelation chapter 21, verse 4, it says, He will wipe every tear from their eyes, and death shall be no more. Neither shall there be mourning, nor crying, nor pain, or any more. These things have passed away. So there is a day when these things are no longer going to be a part of what we experience. But that day is not today. We don't know when that's going to come. We're stuck here in time. And all we have right now is what's in front of us, right? We're finite creatures. So you and I can only deal with what's going on right now. So I think what God's looking at is, even though we don't understand what He's doing, at times, do we trust that He knows what He's doing? And I take peace in my life, not in the understanding, not in the answers, not in the Excel spreadsheet that lays it all out in front of me, but in the fact that I can put my love and my trust and my hope in the one that does have the answers. And I look at my life and the course of, I was 28 when I became a follower of Christ. I look at the path that I was on before that and the path that I'm on now, and it convicts me. It gives me hope because I know what I can do in my own flesh, in my own free will, making decisions on my own. And I know once God got a hold of my heart, what He's been able to do since then. It doesn't mean I'm sinless or wrinkle-free. I still have my issues, and I still have my flesh, and I try to work through that. It's still there. But I know that God lives inside of me and that He's working through me. And I see that in other people's lives and believers' lives. And I trust in the gospel mission that He started 2,000 years ago with His Son, with His death and His life and His resurrection, coming back to us, giving us the Holy Spirit, and then saying, I'm with you. I'm always with you, even until the end of the age. So I want to finish with this. Buddy of mine on Facebook posted it. Unfortunately, I didn't jot down who actually had the quote, but I thought it was pretty good. And it says, to say that God is our refuge and fortress does not mean we won't be touched by challenges and pains of life. It's to say that we have access to the power that can fortify us against the persistent attacks of hopelessness and fear that come from a broken world. So is God going to make everything right on this side of the sun? No. At some point, he's going to come back. It will be right where we are going. It will be right, and these issues won't be in our lives any longer. But right now, what we have is we have hope, and we have the ability to conquer that hopelessness that the world is constantly hinting at, and the enemy is constantly hinting at, telling us that God's not in control and you're hopeless and you're alone. He doesn't love you. That's all a lie. That's not the truth. The truth is in Jesus Christ. He said, I am the way, I am the truth, and I am the life. So if you're a believer, if you're a follower, I would just implore you to throw all of your faith and submit everything you are to Christ and let him go to work. And he doesn't need to explain himself. Just trust in the one that has the answer, that's in the control. The one that started everything, that holds the universe together. He understands what he's doing, and he's a power that we can put our faith and our trust and our love in. So that's what I have today. I look forward to maybe expanding on this and doing a full-blown sermon at some point on the topic. But for now, little 6-minute blip, just covering the cliff notes. So take care. God bless. I'll be back next time. Thanks.